Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Welcome to our post-cabinet brief for Thursday, September 8, 2016. With us this morning is the Honorable Minister of State, Mr. Joseph Harmon, and he will give the brief. Mr. Harmon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Archer. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a very good morning to you. And welcome to our post-cabinet brief for the cabinet meeting which was held on Tuesday, September 6th, 2016. The primary focus of cabinet this week was on ensuring that the government's public infrastructure projects, the contracts of those projects are rolled out in a timely manner. And hence, the minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will join me at the press conference to elaborate on some of these major contracts which Cabinet gave its no objection to. Cabinet has approved at its meeting a visit by the Honorable Minister of Business from September 8th to the 9th, a meet to visit Suriname to meet with the Minister of Tourism, Transport and Communication. The idea is that they will discuss matters related to the promotion of tourism in the Guyanas. You'd recall that prior to the CARICOM Heads of Governments Conference, that His Excellency President Granger had visited Suriname, and that part of the discussions which took place had to do with a joint approach on developing the Guyana Shield as a green tourism destination, and that if there were to be closer collaboration between Suriname and Guyana, that we can sell the world a better tourism product. So this meeting with the Minister of Business, who is also responsible for tourism, and the Minister of Tourism in Suriname is aimed at taking that process forward. It also will be looking at removing the hassles which are involved in traveling between Guyana and Suriname. As you recall, there are some issues with some of our minibuses that travel from Guyana to Suriname, and the claim of unfair treatment by the Surinamese authorities. So that's another issue which will be raised by the Honourable Minister. He will be accompanied at that meeting by Mr. Donald Sinclair, Director of Tourism, and Mrs. Phaedra Williams of the Ministry of Business. Later on in the month, the Minister of Business will, along with the Director of Tourism, participate in a business meeting and State of the Industry Conference of Caribbean Tourism Organizations to be held in Bridgetown, Barbados. Guyana, as you know, is a member of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and one of the few non-sand and sea tourist destinations resort among those members. So we bring a unique perspective to that organization, and agreeing with the arrangement for promoting the Guyana Shield, the arrangements between Guyana, Suriname, and ultimately French Guyana. We believe that that's going to be a very powerful tool that can be presented as a Caribbean destination at that conference. As I said, the Minister will be accompanied by the Director of Tourism, Mr. Donald Sinclair, and they will be looking at the state of Caribbean tourism industry, the growth point for Caribbean tourism, and challenges to the competitiveness of Caribbean tourism product. This is a very important meeting, and the Minister of Business, who is also responsible for tourism, will be going there to promote Guyana's best interests. Additionally, some of our firefighters, as you know, our firefighters are people who are in the line of danger every day. Every time there's a fire, they are on call and they have to get out there. Well, our firefighters, the Guyana Fire Service, is an active member of an association which is called the Caribbean Association of Firefighters. And during this month, the month of September, some of our firefighters will be going to attend the conference of firefighters in the island of Trinidad and Tobago. They will also look at the issues of oil and gas fires, and as you know, the new area of development, we have to prepare for that, and so they will seek to engage their Caribbean counterparts in preparing for the oil and gas development, as well as other major firefighting scene development. So that's going to take place in September, and the station officer Andrew Holder and Sub-Officer Jacobs will be leading that delegation. Cabinet approved the appointment of several non-resident diplomatic representatives to Guyana as follows. His Excellency Mr. Burhanul Islam as non-resident High Commissioner of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Guyana and Pakistan, as you know, established diplomatic relations in November of 1967 and have maintained relations at a multilateral level through such fora as the United Nations, the Non-Aligned Movement, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the Commonwealth. High Commissioner Islam is resident in Ottawa, Canada. Approval was also given for the appointment of Her Excellency Linda Sobe Ali as non-resident ambassador of the State of Palestine. Excuse me. In January 2011, Guyana was the first CARICOM country to recognize the State of Palestine as a free, independent, and sovereign state on its 1967 borders. Diplomatic relations were established between our two countries in December of 2013. Her Excellency Ambassador Sobe Ali is resident in Caracas, Venezuela. His Excellency Mr. Jukka Pitakanen was also approved as non-resident ambassador of the Republic of Finland. Guyana and Finland established diplomatic relations in April of 1979 and collaborated within the CARICOM Nordic countries cooperation mechanism and at various other multilateral levels. The ambassador is based in Finland, Helsinki, Finland. His Excellency Nabil Abagoui as non-resident ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco. Guyana and Morocco established diplomatic relations in December of 2012 and have maintained cordial relations within the framework of the United Nations and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The ambassador is resident in Brazil. His Excellency Roland Donin de Roseri as non-resident ambassador of the Sovereign Military Hospitalier Order of Malta. Guyana and the Sovereign Military Hospitalier Order of Malta established diplomatic relations in December 1999. The state of Malta has been involved in humanitarian development works in Guyana through the Mercy Wings Vocational Center at Sophia, Georgetown, and the Community Development Center in New Amsterdam. The ambassador is resident in the United States of America. Many of you will recall Malta, the last Commonwealth Heads of Governments Conference, where our president attended that meeting in Malta. Cabinet then went on to discuss and gave its objection to several contracts in the public infrastructure sector in particular. Cabinet gave its objection to the contract for the provision of consultancy services for the implementation of a management strengthening program for the Guyana Power and Light. This is an IDB contract, and it is in the sum of $1,504,534,866. And that contract was awarded to Manitoba Hydro International Limited. Later on, when Minister Ferguson comes here, she'll be able to give you the full scope of what that contract is and what benefit it will have to the persons who actually have to pay a light bill.
Superfoods assures the best quality corn and mixed vegetables. Our decade of experience and reliability certainly will help your cooking experience. Our farm fresh corn and mixed vegetables are always picked at prime season and canned to perfection. Once you taste Superfoods corn and mixed vegetables, you will know the difference. Superfoods corn and mixed vegetables, highest quality at the lowest price. Call Superfoods today. Located at 8 Rumfeld Industrial Estate, Georgetown. Call 223-1034 or 223-1035.
Cabinet gave its objection to a contract for the rehabilitation and construction of miscellaneous roads in region number 2. Lot 5, the rehabilitation and construction of Morris Street, Good Hope, Essequibo, for the sum of $22,187,670. The contract was awarded to Mohammed Fawaz Bacchus Construction. And Lot 6, which was the rehabilitation and construction of an Eastern Last Street charity new housing scheme for the sum of $18,236,160. Contract award to Y. Bowler Construction Services. Members of the media, many of you would recall that at our cabinet, our ministerial outreach in Essequibo Region 2, that these two roads were the subject of serious complaints that had been made to the Prime Minister and to myself and the other members of that delegation. And so we responded to those complaints, and the ministry was able to allocate these contracts for the construction of those roads, which we hope will bring significant relief to those persons. The contract, no objection was given for the construction of the Kururu Main Road in region number 4, the sum of $67,322,610. This contract was awarded to Chemraj North Contracting. Now, the completion of this road will bring much needed relief to approximately 12,000 residents who have been asking for its construction for a number of years. It will also facilitate the ongoing expansion of a community that is the result of new homes being constructed at the second and third depth aback of Kururu. Cabinet also gave its objection for the rehabilitation and construction of urban roads in Region 4. Lot 1, for the rehabilitation construction of the Field Main Access Road, Sophia, Georgetown, the sum of $26,834,460 as a contract awarded to JR Construction. And secondly, Lot 2, the rehabilitation, construction of Patterson Road Network, that is Patterson Greater Georgetown, for the sum of $75,779,545. A contract awarded to Handel Garnett. These two areas, again, subject of significant political activity, protests, asking for these roads to be constructed. And the construction of these roads will enable the residents there to enjoy the benefits and conditions to which they're entitled as citizens of Greater Georgetown, and which they were hitherto denied. Thank you very much. Lot 3, the rehabilitation and construction of the Guyana main access road, Georgetown. Many of you, the people who use the, come out of the Sapphire through the shortcut, they call it, and use that access road to get to the main road, will understand that that road is in need of significant work. And so a contract in the sum of $22,081,460 was awarded to R&B Investment for the construction work on that road. For the maintenance of roads in region number 7, Lot 1, repairs to the Four Corners junctions in the township of Bartica for the sum of $16,149,400. Contract awarded to BK International Inc. These roads were constructed, but because of the way in which the traffic turns, once the corners are not properly done, it damages the road, and piece by piece it affects the integrity of the entire structure. So this is a contract to ensure that the corners of these roads are fixed. Then Lot 2, the maintenance of the back road by the Rabo, Bartica, for the sum of $13,201,360, also awarded to BK International Inc. For the rehabilitation of sections of the Linden-Suze Highway, this is additional work. Many of you who actually traverse the Linden-Suze Highway would recognize that there are some depressions in the road. And if you're not very careful, it looks like if it is one road going all the way. But then you can get into depression, and before you know it, you become like a flying saucer. So this is a contract to deal with those depressions. It is an extension of the contract because the original scope, when they looked at it, the depressions were much deeper than they had anticipated. And so this is additional, an increase of $37 million on a contract awarded to Barden Construction Services for the rehabilitation of the Linden-Suze Highway. For the construction of groins at Cullen on the Essequibo coast, contracts in the sum of $23,562,400 awarded to Deodat Singh Construction Firm. For the provision of designs and supervision service for the construction of a sluice at Horstellin, East Bank, Demerara, a contract in the sum of $18,075,000 awarded to SRK Engineering. It's a contract for supervision services. For the rehabilitation of a concrete bridge at number 51 Village Quarantine for the sum of $60,532,600. Contract awarded to Anirudh Ramchamitar Construction Firm and General Contractors. For the rehabilitation of the Bartica-Stellin Transport and Harbors Department, a contract in the sum of $240,353,032, awarded to Courtney Ben Contracting Services Limited. Many of you would know the condition of the Bartica-Stellin and the Parika-Stellin for that matter. And we'd always said that we are going to fix these places, and basically this is what we're doing now. For the rehabilitation of the goods wharf at Kingston, Georgetown, Transport and Harbors Department, a contract in the sum of $58,944,800. Contract awarded to M. Sukai Constructing Services. Again, the goods wharf at Kingston is a place where the ferry from the Northwest District would leave, and that's usually a very busy time once the ferry is departing. And the condition of that wharf is something which we decided we were going to pay attention to, and that's what we're doing. For the reconstruction of the Transport and Harbors Department Central Workshop and Administrative Building, the sum of $47,977,453, a contract award to Gupta Contracting Services. And for the extension of the Leonora Diagnostic Center, Leonora West Coast Demerara, a contract in the sum of $74,487,380. This contract was awarded to Builders Hardware and Quality Lumber Company. This project, at the expansion of the Leonora Diagnostic Center, arose out of a concern which was expressed by His Excellency when he visited the maternity ward of the Georgetown Hospital. I believe it was on Boxing Day last year. His major concern at that time was that the condition under which pregnant women were treated in the manner in which they were making deliveries. And he expressed his concern about that matter and called upon the Minister of Health and myself to go around to find a proper place where some extension to a hospital can cater to maternity cases to deal with the conditions under which our women were required to give birth. And the Leonora Diagnostic Center is one of the areas that had been identified that with the space and can, with some adjustment, be able to provide that facility so that the women who are coming from Bartico and the other places in regions 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9, that they don't have to come all the way to Georgetown, that there's a facility there at Leonora that will properly cater to their needs. And so this is a contract for that purpose. And the completion of this project will therefore result in the center being upgraded from an antenatal clinic to one that offers a full range of maternity services for pre-birth clinic to post-delivery health care. So this is really what we're doing there. Cabinet also gave us an objection for the extension of the school buildings at New Amsterdam, the School of Nursing in Berbice, a contract in the sum of $25,509,643. That's a contract awarded to Dudnat Contracting and Supplies. For the construction of the Nurses Hostel in New Amsterdam, the sum of $49,178,952. Contract awarded to Beresford Harry Constructing Services. For the construction of an outpatient building at New Amsterdam Hospital, a contract in the sum of $15,910,660. A contract awarded to O'Neill Jordan. For the construction of a building to accommodate classrooms in the Upper Quarantine Technical Institute, a contract in the sum of $18,605,310, awarded to Gupta Engineering Services. For the construction of a primary school at number 36 Village Quarantine, a contract in the sum of $30,130,362 to Memorex Enterprises. For the construction of a concrete health center and living quarters at Wairuni, Berbice River Region number 10, the sum of $19,684,025, a contract awarded to JPM General Contracting Services. For the rehabilitation of the Linden Foundation Secondary School, the sum of $19,276,850, a contract awarded to J.R. Edmondson Building Works. For the supply of pharmaceuticals and medical supplies, Ministry of Public Health. For the selected items, for the sum of $20,070,810, a contract awarded to Answer McCall Trading Limited. For selected items, for the sum of $554,936,688, a contract awarded to New GPC Inc. For selected items, in the sum of $94,329,049, contract awarded to Global Healthcare. For selected items, for the sum of $391,546,562, a contract awarded to IPA. For the supply of pharmaceuticals, medical, laboratory supplies, and field materials for the Ministry of Public Health, for selected items in the sum of $36,248.68 United States dollars, a contract awarded to Western Scientific Company Limited. And for selected items for the sum of $79,589,677, contract award to New GPC Inc. Ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated to you that the bulk of our work this last cabinet had to do with the award of these contracts and scrutinizing them so that we can give our objection to these contracts. I had also indicated to you that I'd invited the minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure to expand or elaborate on some of the construction contracts, but more particularly the contract, the GPL contract, in the sum of $1.6 billion, which is an IDB project. So I'd ask Minister Ferguson to elaborate a little bit on that, after which both of us will take questions on the brief.
Have you tried a new taste of Western fried chicken lately? Added flavor, marinated with rich seasonings and fresh ingredients, pressure fried to lock in the taste. Western fried buffalo wings, chicken strips and more. So take a bite into the good stuff today. Three convenient locations to serve you. Call the numbers on your screen for home delivery.
Thank you very much, Minister of State. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a pleasant morning. As Minister of State alluded to earlier, that $1.6 billion has been approved or given Cabinet's no objection. Well, with regards to this $1.6 billion, this is IDB EU funded project. And this project will be done in two components. The first component will deal with the improvement of capacity building for the management, that is the executive management of the Guyana Power and Light Company Limited. And the other aspect of the project will focus on the improvement in the loss reduction area. Currently, the loss reduction percentage is roughly 29 point, I think it's 3%. And by 2020, we will see a reduction in the technical losses by some 23 point, I can't remember the other figure, but anyway, 23 point something %, right? So basically, this is what the $1.6 billion will be utilized. So I think this is what I would want to report on. So with these monies being released, we would see a more efficient and effective GPL when it comes to both at the management team and that providing services to the populace here in Guyana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. I think we can now take your questions on the brief.
Minister Ferguson, Dennis Shabral, and Mara Waves. But in relation to the GPL, the funding with GPL, could you say whether this will include the hiring of foreign managers and what will be their likely pay grades? And will, as part of this project, will there be an increase in tariffs?
Thank you very much, Mr. Shabal. I wouldn't want to pronounce on whether this project will see the hiring of foreign personnel. I don't think so, but I guess that information can be provided. And with regards to the increase in tariffs, I don't foresee such happening. Thank you.
And also, ma'am, can you say what are your commercial losses as opposed to your technical losses, and how will these be addressed?
Mr. Shabal, I don't have the information at hand at the moment, but as I alluded to earlier, with these projects coming on stream, we would be seeing an improved, efficient, and effective service within the Guyana Power and Light Company. Thank you.
Ronald. Ronald, Daily News. Minister Harman, with regards to the road rehabilitation in Region 2, would you be able to say what material will be used in rehabilitating the roads, and why only the eastern last street of the scheme, the charity scheme, is being rehabilitated? Many of those streets in charity scheme are in dire need of repair, probably total repairs. And with regards to wharves, you mentioned wharves. There were some 200 feet of wharves that disappeared overnight at the charity front. Would the government be launching an investigation into that scenario and pronouncing it?
Well, the last one, the 200 feet of what? Of wharf that disappeared overnight. This is recently in our administration?
No.
Oh, okay. This was sometime before. I think that basically what we're looking to do, we have to take a position on what we have and to see how best we will improve on what we have. The question of the roads in Esquibot Region 2, these roads come on a schedule that had been built by the NDC and the RDC. And the advice that are given comes from the community. So insofar as the prioritizing of these roads, this is really where it comes from. They, of course, will dependent on the availability of funds as to how many of these roads can be done at the same time. But the prioritizing of the roads, whether it is the east or west half, is done by the community, and that is also dependent on how much money is available. That will also be another factor. Is that a good answer? Public infrastructure? Thank you. The other question you asked about was the material to be used. I don't know if Minister, but I think these are asphaltic roads that are being built. You know, there's also an experiment now with going back to concrete. There's some development that's taking place there, and the government is basically exploring that as well, concrete as well as asphaltic roads. Because the concrete roads, you know, the South Prime Belt, some of those roads was done with concrete. The roads at the Temeri, they were concrete roads. They were built many, many, many years ago. And so I think in the construction of roads, there is now a resort. People are actually going back and looking at concrete because of the fact that they can expand and contract much easier. So that is also a possibility that the government will be looking at. But as far as I'm aware, that these roads are asphaltic.
Mr. Ferguson, what are some of the measures your ministry will be taking to ensure loss reduction in GPL?
Well, currently, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, we have instructed or advised the Board of Directors to have an audit done on the loss reduction unit there at GPL. So we're actually awaiting the submissions from their findings. So I guess based on the recommendations, we would be able to have those recommendations implemented.
Additionally, what I can say from the conversations I have been privy to is that the GPL are the origins of the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, that they're looking at expanding their reach to unused areas, unserviced areas. They're expanding the reach there. Because in our experience, you find that a lot of line loss due to theft, electricity theft, let me put it straight up, comes from some areas where people do not have full access to electricity, so they run a line from one house to the next and then it gets to a post. And so you have issues like that. And it is something we cannot disregard, that is one aspect of the line loss and one aspect of the loss reduction exercise which will have to take place. So there are technical losses as well as there are losses due to human activity which we have to deal with. We have heard, of course, about the issues in the loss reduction unit, which the minister spoke about, an audit being done there. And then, of course, it is our own attitude as Guyanese citizens to the production or the access to electricity. That once the GPL run the posts and they put the meters and so on, that we should at least try to stay within the law.
Superfoods brings quality dairy to your home. The highest protein and the creamiest taste with calcium and vitamins A, D, and E. Keep your family smiling with our full cream Milko milk powder made from 100% pasteurized milk. Our Milko milk powder is high quality Fonterra milk powder. Now available in smaller packages. Enjoy the high quality and great taste. Call Superfoods, located at 8 Rumfeld Industrial Estate. Call 223-1034 or 223-1035.
Good morning, sir. Gordon Mosley, News Source. Sir, we're seeing contracts being given out for the rehabilitation of schools a week or the same week that schools are reopening. Was there any particular reasons these contracts were not given out previous to the before the closure of schools, so that that period would have been used to rehabilitate these schools and so? And secondly, sir, we're seeing a lot of out-of-town contractors, so to speak, being given contracts for specific communities. Could you say if they're being encouraged to hire persons from those communities when they go into those communities to do construction work?
Very good question. I'll take the last first. And that is in fact so. We are trying to, one, ensure that when contracts are awarded to communities, that the communities benefit from the contracts in providing work. Because construction is basically one way in which an economy is driven. And the production of work in these communities is really what it is that we really ensuring that these things have to be done. So yes, additionally what we are also trying to do is to ensure that contractors in the regions also get some of these contracts. Contractors in the region, so that you don't have one set of contractors that controls the whole thing. And so to the extent to which these other contractors from the regions qualify, we are basically encouraging that development. In relation to the schools, these were contracts that had been in the pipeline for some time and had to go through a process of evaluation and through the tender board and the tender board process. I don't believe that they were meant to capture the period of time when school will have been closed and it's opening now. Because as you can see from some of these, some of them are brand new buildings, some are extensions of classrooms, some in that case, And I believe that the way in which construction is done these days, the work can go on even while your classroom is in progress because of the way the contractor can organize the work. They can work at night when the classes are out and so on. So we've actually impressed upon the persons who receive these contracts to ensure that there's least disruption of the classes so that they can work at night and on weekends to make sure that the work is done on time, and that where it is new construction, that we try to make sure that it is done within the course, the period of this year.
Minister, if you may allow me to add to your first point with regards to the hiring of individuals from within the regions. I must say that at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, we have a unit called the Special Projects Unit. So currently we are rehabilitating a few roads there in Leg 1. And what we would have done, even though the works are being conducted by the ministry itself, we would have hired, personnel, young people, youths from within the Leg 1 area.
Minister Ferguson, Gilderry Kaicher News. Could you give us a state of the repairs to the submarine cable across the Demerara River? Because we have extra power across here, and when is it likely to be repaired? And secondly, maybe Minister Harmon, could you tell us, we are in September at the moment, how are we with our spendings for the year and the awarding of contracts?
Mr. Gildari, sorry to say, I don't have all the details at hand, and I wouldn't want to comment on this particular question.
Also, if we can bear note, we're going to deal with things that were dealt at the cabinet meeting from the 6th of September, and you can always request that information from the minister at a later date. Thank you.
Okay, the spendings on contracts, as you can see, that it's a lot of contracts that are coming out. Earlier in the year, when we did an assessment of our spendings on public infrastructure projects, the minister made it clear that the percentage was not satisfactory, and that we needed to expedite the work in all of the government ministries to ensure that we will be able to satisfy our requirement. Some of the problems resided in the system, that is, in order to get a contract through the National Procurement and Tender Board administration and then back to the cabinet and out. So those issues we are now refining. I think we have gotten it down much better. And with the introduction sometime later of the Public Procurement Commission, some of these steps will actually be taken out so that it should be much, much quicker.
My question is a question for you, Mr. Archer. So there'll be no questions outside of the cabinet brief?
Today we'll be dealing with matters related to the cabinet meeting on the 6th.
Okay. Mr. Archer's in charge.
If there are no more questions, then thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.